95.3 WBCK now presents Coach's Corner, live from Lakeview Ford. For over 6 decades, this has been your number one source for all local sports information. Coach's Corner is proudly presented by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now, here's your host, Bill Broderick.
For the third time this year. Spartans would fall short 61-52 and see their historic season where they won their first district title in years and their first league title in years come to an end. Penfield opened Division II regional play at Adrian High School with a 56-46 loss to Onstead and its Mr. Basketball candidate Aiden David. That would be it for boys basketball action for the week, but let me take a minute to congratulate the St. Philip girls for winning a district title and moving on to the regionals. Also in the area for girls basketball, Coldwater and Cohen won district crowns. We will be back with our first coach of the morning after this break on 95.3 FM WBCK.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
Here on Coach's Corner, we're back with our first coach of the morning, Coach Burns of the Penfield Panthers. How's it going, Coach?
Good, doing well. Good morning.
Thanks for coming down this morning on our final weekend of Coach's Corner of the season. It's gone by fast. This whole season's kind of gone by fast.
It has. It's amazing to think that we played 26 games, and it just seems like we were just getting into the gym back in November, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. I can still taste that turkey from Thanksgiving, it seems like. But we have Penfield won their district title, and so you guys are still in action this week. You played in the Division II Regional. You were over at Adrian High School, and you took on Onstead. You came up a little short, losing 56-46. Let's talk about that game a little bit. You're facing a big challenge in Onstead, an even bigger challenge in their Mr. Basketball Finals. Aiden David, a 6'11" center who's committed to play at Wright State. You guys seem to have a strategy for him, and that kind of kept you in the game for as long as you did, right?
Yeah. We felt, we couldn't just let him catch it on the block and score 30. So in prep and film, we kind of saw a couple of different ways teams guarded them, but they always let them catch the ball, whether it was, single coverage and then sending the double on the catch or bracketing with a zone. So we kind of thought that, we could send, Deshaun Boykins, our most athletic guy, we could send him with him, and then kind of zone out the other guys. And when he did go to post, we bracket him with Davis in front of him and then Johnny right behind him. So, and it was effective. We wanted to limit his touches. We just didn't want him to touch the ball, in the post. If he went to the perimeter, we kind of just left him and let him do what he wanted on the perimeter. But we wanted the guards to be able to shoot from the perimeter. We didn't think, that they could consistently make shots. And they didn't, but in a short notice, and the strategy with that, without necessarily repping that a lot, we gave up open looks to the guards kind of on cuts and at the rim. And so, early on that kind of got us. We limited, Davis. I think he scored 16, for the game. He fouled out with 3 minutes left. So, both offensively and defensively, we went at him. And then guards, got a little bit, different looks than we wanted.
Yeah, he had 16 points, 14 rebounds, a lower night than he usually expects. Like you said, he averages in the high 20s there as Mr. Basketball. Jonathan Lake had a big game for you at 17 points and 6 rebounds. Deshaun Boykins had 14 points and 8 rebounds. The key, I think, maybe was was staying in the game for as long as you could, and that was hampered with a second quarter. You only had 6 points in that second quarter, and you were down 29-18 at halftime. And you wanted to be a little bit closer at intermission to try to make a run. Does that look great?
Yeah. We got looks in the second quarter. They just didn't fall. Shots that were falling, the last couple of weeks. Offensively, we've been in a better rhythm, towards the end of the year, and shots that were going in previously didn't go in, that second quarter. So, yeah, we found ourselves in a hole. We felt good defensively with the way we were playing, and offensively we were getting looks, so they just didn't fall. So we felt if we could just kind of still hang around and be there, give us a shot. Ball started going down there in the second half. Johnny got a little bit more looks there in the second half. And, kept that within that 10-point range throughout the third quarter, fourth quarter. When Davis fouled out with about 3 minutes left, we were still down 10. Got it to 8. We had a corner look at an open 3. Missed that with about 2.5 minutes left. That goes down at the 5-point game at that point. And, momentum was on our side. But, just couldn't get a few shots to fall at key times.
You guys won just 8 games in the regular season, 8-14, but you put together those 3 wins during the district week and finished the season 11-15. A team that kind of came into the season not with a ton of varsity experience that you could put on the floor. A younger team that kind of grew through the year, and you have to like the momentum you have at the end of the year this year and what that could possibly mean for next year. Yeah,
for sure. I felt, the guys stayed in it all year, just the resiliency that they showed, coming back. They always came to practice ready to work, and, we saw that kind of build some momentum towards the end of the year. Seniors are able to leave on a good note with their basketball career and feel that they really accomplished something, and that they're going to be with them, for the rest of their lives. So we've got 5 guys with varsity experience, coming back next year that this gave them a taste of postseason and postseason success. And hopefully it'll be a motivator for those guys to continue to work hard in the offseason.
What is the goal for the offseason for the Panthers? For some, obviously in your head, the offseason starts now and you're already thinking about next year. The guys probably want a little bit of break, and they have maybe some spring sports to think about. But when it gets to the summertime, what do you want to try to get accomplished to get ready for next year? Yeah, so, we still need to, as just a full program, we need to continue getting better from a skill standpoint. We need to get physically stronger. And there's guys that need to spend time, in the weight room, this spring and summer. And they're multi-sport athletes, so they're getting workouts, in different different ways, but we also need to make sure we're getting physically stronger, more athletic in some spots. And then the young guys, we've got, the JV guys, there's some freshman guys that will get better and hopefully be able to give us a good look next year. So just as a whole program, prior to, June, it's getting better. It's refining skill. We'll get to June. We'll work hard for the month of June and summer. We'll run open gyms throughout the spring and get guys in there. But we'll continue. It's passing the torch. It's guys getting faster, stronger, and quicker. This is our last Saturday on Coach's Corner for the season, and we give all our coaches a chance to say thanks to all the important people that are around the program that kind of help make this run. The coach can't do it by himself, and the players don't get on the floor just by themselves, by lacing up the shoelaces and getting out there. There's a lot of people that are behind the scenes. And, Coach, I'm going to give you the mic here to talk about all the people that are important to this program.
Yeah, it takes a village, and there's so many moving parts, as everybody knows, to get things organized. And, for me, it starts with the family, and the support that they have still allows me to get out and enjoy doing something that, I still enjoy doing. So we got a great coaching staff, Chris Talbot, Mike Coos, Keegan Burns. They're the time that they spend with the guys and the knowledge and how they pour into those guys. So appreciate those guys. the administration, athletic director Brett Steele, to the superintendent and board of education for the continued support of athletics, at the school, and then the boosters. Boosters are always there for us if we need, any requests for equipment. They work extremely hard in fundraising and to support the athletic programs. The guys themselves. It was a pleasure to come into the gym every day with those guys this season. It was a good group of guys. They enjoyed each other's company. Again, just the resiliency that they showed. Parents for supporting their kids and their endeavors to get out and compete and play athletics. Getting them to practices and to the support of the coaches, organizing team meals, snacks after each game. We have our PA guy, Chris Vogt, who gives us a good atmosphere at the home games. And then from a local publicity standpoint, Bill, Will as well, for giving these guys a platform to be able to be seen and kind of heard around the community, and allows the community to get to know some of these young athletes. And, the coaches able to come out and cheer them on and support them each week.
It was a fun season watching the Penfield Panthers this year, watching them grow throughout the year, and really fun district week getting through there and having some excitement for those guys that they'll remember for a long time, and getting a taste of regional basketball, which doesn't always happen around here. So that was great for the Panthers. Congratulations on the season, Coach, and we'll be back talking about basketball again next year, so I appreciate it.
It'll be here before we know it.
That's right.
Thanks, Bill.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner, back here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Kimber of the St. Phil Fighting Tigers. How's it going, Coach?
Morning, Bill.
It's great to have you down here again, and talk about St. Phil's season overall. St. Phil Fighting Tigers went 14-8 overall. A young team still. We talked about that the last couple of years, but the facts are that they are very young. But you guys made great strides this year in terms of moving the program forward, even with those young guys. Let's talk about that a little bit, and where do you feel like you guys are right now, and the kind of season you had.
Yeah, no, we were definitely still young. I think this is my last year of being able to say we were a young team. So I think that kind of, it was kind of a curse and a blessing at times. I think the curse part of it was, districts, we didn't have those seniors who were out there, considering it might be their last game ever. But also at the same time during the regular season, I feel like being young was great because it's getting all that experience. And also I think there were some times during games where maybe in the regular season they weren't feeling the pressure as much as maybe some of those older guys were. So, it was great. I mean, I thought we had a really solid season. Won some we probably weren't supposed to, and then lost some we probably weren't supposed to either. So, it was a healthy little split. But overall, I like what I saw, and I think it's going to be a very, very fun year next year.
The 14 wins is a high compared to the last couple of years for you, and the guys coming in, getting the job done were in the starting lineup, or like we said before, all underclassmen. Let's talk about some of the highlights for those guys. Your starting lineup includes part of the triplets, the Deswick triplets, and they got a lot of playing time. And then other guys, Colt Myers, stepped up when he needed to. Talk about that package of players and what each of them kind of brought to the table.
Yeah, I think they do a great job of complementing each other. I mean, there's not one single guy who's gonna, give us that. I'll refer to it as the Connor Goslin Knights of St. Phil, where we're gonna have one guy go for 30, and then everybody else scores like 4 or 5. So we have a nice little healthy blend of guys who score. We also get a healthy blend of guys who specialize on the defensive end and specialize on the offensive end. Guys like Lincoln Diswick and Sawyer Weiss, they took massive strides this year, and that's gonna help us tremendously going into their seniors and junior years. So, and then guys like Carter Colt, getting them all that experience and, getting those big game atmospheres where they're playing those, 27 to 32 minutes, those nights, that's going to go a long way next year as well. And then, guys like Nate Rabelje and Chris Gaona, they really embraced their tasks. Nate was in our starting lineup for a good portion of the season. He's just one of those guys that he can explode for a nice little 20 point night here and there. And then Christian is just he's strong. That's all I don't know any other way to put it. He's a strong, wide body. Did a great job at our districts of being able to shut down Miles Shannon. Unfortunately, he took a elbow to the forehead and got gashed up and had to get some stitches, and I was told it was maybe a concussion, so I wasn't able to get him back in our district game. And I thought that kind of hurt us because he was playing so well. But just seeing him step up in that big game, that's going to speak volumes to where I think he can go to next year. But going forward, there's a lot of things we need to work on, including skill set needs to improve, but also we need to hit the weight room hard. I already got some guys who've been in the weight room pretty much 2 days after the regular season. I mean, not the regular season, but pretty much 2 days after we lost in the district, we had guys in the weight room, and that's what I'd like to see. We got guys who are hungry for next year because I think everybody in our program knows what next year can be. And so getting them to all get on that page that, if everybody locks in, we can really make a special thing out of next year.
The way the season kind of ended this year is kind of a bummer. You guys are on a roll and had, strung a bunch of wins together at the end of the season, including 2 over Climax Scots. And then when you saw Climax Scots in the district pairings there waiting for you, the guys had to think that it was going to be more of the same, and that didn't happen. Talk about that, and maybe that was more of a mind game situation for you as opposed to really what happened on the floor, or what kind of happened there?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a mind game. I think, our goal all season long was to get to the number 1 seed in our district, and I thought that would do wonders for us. But unfortunately, how the state works, we only seed the first 2 seeds, and Battle Creek Academy got the 2nd seed, and so we were sitting there in the wings waiting for either Climax or Calhoun Christian on Wednesday night. And so I thought it kind of helped Climax that they got to play on a Monday night and got to get their playoff legs underneath them, whereas we're coming in there Wednesday after not playing since the last Thursday. So, you got 6 days off right there. I never thought I'd say it, but I think I would have rather played a Monday night game against somebody who, you can kind of, I wouldn't say trample, but you can beat fairly easy just to get those playoff legs. Because, I feel like the number 1 seed should be rewarded, and I don't think that was the case in our district. That's no shade at our opponents, but I just think the MHSAA needs to do a better job with seeding, because the number 1 seed should not be, quote-unquote, punished in their first playoff game, like I felt we were.
Yeah, you get the bye. That's the one thing, but they don't seed the rest of the district, so it's a flip of the coin of who you might play, and you're not going to play the number 2 seed in your first game.
Yeah,
but you could play someone, a good team, on that Wednesday, and you did end up playing the best other team in the district on that Wednesday, and that ended up being your downfall. But good season nonetheless. 14 wins, nothing to hang your head about, and these kids are all coming back, and that's a big bonus for you guys. And so we're also talking about talking to all the coaches about what makes the program run for each of them, and giving them each of our coaches this morning on the last Coaches Corner of the season to talk about those people that help the program run. And we're going to give the mic to the coaches to do that now. So let's talk about all those people that helped you guys get going.
Yeah. First off, I want to thank Hunter Haley. He was my JV coach and assistant varsity coach this year. I thought he did a great job on the JV level. And then on the varsity level, he just brings a level of basketball IQ that I really, have a difficult time finding year after year. And so it was great having him on my bench. Zach Nelson, my varsity assistant, he does a great job of doing his jobs on game day. He's not always with us at practice because of his work schedule, but he does a great job. I'd like to thank Vicky Kirsten, Paul Nelson, and Matt Myers. I know they all chipped in and helped do our scorebook at the scorers table, so I really appreciate that. Brian Snyder for showing us the how a game day atmosphere should feel like, because we finally had music this year, which is normally not the case at St. Phil. Laura Oliver, who did our scorekeeping, really appreciate that. Stacy Lightfoot and Vicky Grote for all of their hard work and dedication to the school all year long. Our parents, they did a great job of supporting us all year. They showed out to all of our games and supported us well. Our alumni, we did a lot of alumni scrimmages this season to kind of bring back some of the younger alumni to scrimmage our guys, and I thought that helped us go a long way. All of our fans, we had a great district crowd, and we even had bigger crowds towards the second half of the season, which I thought was great. I think that's going to be great going forward for our kids next year, because now they're more comfortable playing in front of bigger crowds. And then yourself, Bill, and Will, for all your dedication to our local sports. We really appreciate that. I think the kids appreciate all the love that they get in both the Enquirer and the Shopper.
Yeah, it was fun to watch the St. Phil Tigers this year. It was a nice season all the way around, and you can see the growth from the start to finish. And those young guys, you can see them actually growing, maybe actually a couple inches from the last game of the year. So I swear some of them got taller, but that's going to even bode well for next year. It'll be a big off season for St. Phil, and we'll look forward to that. Thanks a lot for coming on here, Coach.
Thanks, Bill.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, Battle Creek Enquirer, back here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Bowling of the Harbor Creek Beavers. How's it going, Coach?
Good morning, Bill.
We're back here on our last weekend of the season, Coach. It's come around fast, and you guys had a whirlwind kind of season. Is that right?
Yeah, it's amazing how time flies. But yeah, overall, very good season.
Harbor Creek went 11-13, and that includes district victory and making some inroads there. And a lot of the guys that were on the floor were underclassmen. And so that bodes well for going forward. And you had to see a lot of growth in the season. You guys started a little slow, and they got things going in the middle of the season, and were really rolling at the end of the year. Let's talk about that dynamic there a little bit and how you kind of saw this team grow.
Well, it was kind of fun to be part of and to see that whole development and that process. I mean, there were some games we wish we would have had back when we were kind of going through our rough patch there. But reflecting with it, there are a lot of different factors about why it was a slow start. But the fact of the matter is it's just a process. And you just can't rush that process sometimes. We all would like to have a little more success and do things at a little quicker rate. But it just took us some time. But we kind of told the kids this and a lot of people this. It wasn't a matter of if we got it. It was just a matter of when. And the other part that made that thing difficult is our schedule was kind of tough there in the middle of the year, where we played our last home game. I think it was December 18th, and we didn't play at home again till January 30th. So, we got a whole month. Yeah. 8 games, consecutively all on the road. That was tough too, but you found a way to get through it, and we improved improved not just our skills, but we improved how we played in our system and gathered an identity, and we grew from that.
The numbers show you guys started 1-6 on the year, but then, like you said, you got some things figured out in the middle of the season there, and then 7 straight wins at the end of the year over some important opponents for the Beavers. You beat Penfield, you beat Battle Creek Central during that stretch. You beat Sturgis in the first round of the districts on your home floor, a nice crowd there. And all of that had to leave a good taste in your mouth as you guys kind of end the season, and those boys kind of turned into uniforms. They had to have some games, right? That
was nice. And the other one that was in that mix that was, to me, a real important one was the last game of the year, the senior night, when we beat Western. They were undefeated in the conference, and we gave them their only conference loss. And not just it was important that we beat them, but how we beat them. We kind of didn't necessarily beat them in our own typical style with scoring a lot of points and shooting the ball particularly well. That was a third game at 4 days, and we had to have a grinded out game. And we stepped up and made plays defensively. and hit some free throws down the stretch and just played a hard-nosed game. And that was cool to see us win in a different way. So that showed to me a huge improvement from where we started to where we finished.
Yeah, that was a 47-45
yeah.
over Parma Western. And then, like you said, the first only loss in the league for Parma Western, so really a nice feather in the cap for Harper Creek there. On the floor for you most of the time, underclassmen, but you did have a couple seniors that stepped up for you during when you needed them to. Let's talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to have those guys back. Kurt Almeida, what a fantastic person he is, and Brady Vetty. Both those guys were captains, kind of the glue of our team. They were a big part of the reason why we were able to stick together through the adversity, the integrity that they both have, and the leadership they both have. Brady, I don't know how he didn't just come through the whole year with bumps and bruises and floor burns. That guy was unbelievable for us. Led our team in deflections and led our team in steals, and just a defensive demon for us. Left everything he had out there on the floor every night, and did it with a smile on his face. And just two pair of outstanding young men that real excited about their future and hope they come back, and they aren't strangers even though they graduate. We're going to miss those guys.
The fact that you only have two seniors meant that a lot of underclassmen that got a lot of playing time, and some key guys for you that showed a lot of growth during the year that stepped up for the first time in the starting lineup for you. Some of those key guys are going to be a big part of the program going forward. What do you like? What do you like from that group?
Well, again, we played a lot of guys, and there was there would be a lot of experience for us coming back. They kind of know how to do things. Things aren't going to be so new. I like our athleticism and how we play together. That was good. I'd like to see us. Obviously, it'd be nice if they could grow all 3-4 inches here this year, but that probably won't happen. But just continue to gain some physical strength and some experience, and to continue working on their skills, shooting the ball. We're going to need to stretch the floor quite a bit, and the diversity we have offensively, how on different guys or different nights it can be different guys. So I think that's a strength of ours too, because we kind of looked at things like we had 7 starters this year, depending on who we ran out there on those nights, and we got a deep group coming back that I think we had 6 or 7 guys this year that average between 8 and 7 points a game. So there's a lot of offensive balance. Really like to see that coming back, and it's difficult to just take one guy away from us. So we do it together.
Yeah, that's big for the Harper Creek. You don't have a guy who has eye-popping numbers there, but you did have guys that took turns stepping up late in the year. Braden Best had a couple of big games that were huge when he got hot, and other guys did the same when you needed to. Cotton did the same thing when you needed him for those kind of reasons, and you have some younger guys maybe on underclassmen that are at JV level that are going to come up too. So it's going to be a nice season of growth in the off season, the summertime, and seeing how that kind of goes for Harper Creek for next year. And I'm sure that building off this year that there's a lot of excitement around the program. Harper Creek itself isn't run just by Matt Bowling, the basketball program. You have a lot of people behind the scenes that keep things going, and we're going to give each of our coaches a little chance this morning to chat about those people that help the basketball program roll. And we'll give you the mic a little bit here, Coach, to talk about that.
All right. I'd like to thank all of our players in our program, especially Brady and Kurt, our seniors, which we talked about, our parents, very supportive, do a great job, make Harper Creek a special place. Our middle school coaches, Jared Dell, Brian Eiler, Guy Settles, Kylan Watkins, our freshman coaches, TJ Simpson, Mitch Sayers, Brody McCurchie, JV coaches, Troy Fight, Chris Bowers. They all do a wonderful job, and our varsity assistant, Steve Castleman. This is our first year. Steve and I worked together, and really excited to have him. Retained him on our staff, and to have him as our assistant is I'm so lucky to have a quality individual and a great basketball coach and a friend to work with. I'd like to thank Mel Fiesel and Jessica Ratcliffe in the athletic office. Matt Ratcliffe is our game manager. Matt, our trainer. Keen Arms, a manager. At the scorers table, Deb Look, Chris Barnes, Bruce Bria, Lonnie Newland, all at the table. At our home games, Dave Van Giesen with stats and also doing our program. Diane Castleman doing our book on the road, and Dan, all their support. They don't just do the book. I think they adopt all of us as extended family. I'd like to thank Doug Best for just kind of coming in and just kind of hanging out and telling stories after some games, and just his unwavering support. And last but not least, Bill, you. I think we're so lucky to have you here in Battle Creek and the surrounding area as well. You are the voice and the coverage of what happens with high school sports and sports in this area. And you do a fantastic job, not just at the Enquirer, but down here doing this every Saturday as well. And just so thankful that you're continuing to do what you do for all the kids and the coverage of the Battle Creek area. Thank you so much, Bill. Sometimes I think you don't get enough credit. You're a one-man band who plays it masterfully and does a fantastic job, and very thankful for you.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, things have changed a lot at the Enquirer over the years, and it is a little bit less people getting the job done here, but we always want to get as much as we can out of the community as we can, and we love watching the local schools do well. And you guys had a fun time this year, and fun for us to watch all you guys. So appreciate that, and appreciate what you guys do for all the city teams themselves. And I know Harbor Creek is lucky to have you, Coach, also. That's it for Coach's Corner for you for this season, and thanks for coming down here all year.
Thanks again, Bill. Thanks for everything.
Back with our next Coach in the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick, back with our next Coach of the Morning here, Coach Steve Wickman of the Lakeview Spartans. How's it going, Coach?
It's going pretty well, Bill. It's kind of weird not to have anything to do, but, it's going okay.
It's all right. It's the end of the season. We'll wrap things up here on Coach's Corner for the season, and looking forward to the next season at the same time. But before we do that, Lakeview had some more to talk about, some more basketball to talk about this week, which was a good thing for the Spartans. You came away with your first district title in years. You're coming off a season with your first SMAC East Division title in years. Also, a season to remember for the Spartans, and that earned you a spot in the regional semifinals against a Porter Central team. You fell short 61-52, but it was an emotional game, a hard-fought game the whole time, and Lakeview was there at the end to try to grab that at the very end. Talk about getting to the regional semifinals and having that experience for the boys and how important that was.
Well, first of all, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun, and I've said numerous times, this team was a lot of fun in general. We walked in to the gym at about 5:30 when the other teams were warming up, and then they went through the introductions and stuff, and it was already just jam packed, and I think our kids were a little bit like, "Whoa, this is pretty cool," and so that was fun, and then watching the first game till halftime was pretty cool, just because it was loud and it was exciting, and so all that good stuff. And then obviously being in the game, it's not necessarily as much fun when you're in it as it might be just watching somebody else do it. But even in our the game obviously didn't go the way we wanted it to at the end, but I thought our guys did a great job of keeping their composure and playing really hard. And we got it tied at 42 and had come back from, I think, maybe an 8-point deficit at that point. And I thought, holy cow, Old Mo's on our side, and I think we're in pretty good shape here. And Zach got a dunk, and the crowd went nuts. And then Maddox took a charge, and the crowd went even more. I couldn't even hear myself breathe. But they did a good job, called timeout, got everything settled down, and came out and hit 3 threes in a row, and deflated us immediately. We had obviously had opportunities at the bucket, in between those 3 shots, but it didn't seem like it. It seemed like we were playing. They made 3 and we missed 3, and that part of it went really quickly. And then so I give their coach credit, because he did use that timeout in a big moment, and quite frankly, one of their kids that doesn't necessarily shoot the 3 real well hit 2 of them in a row. And I told our guys, that's how we played it. We wanted him to drive first and shoot second, and or other way around, sorry. And he made 2 big shots, so credit that kid too.
Porter Central ended up winning that game 61-52. Porter Central advanced to face a loaded East Lansing team, and we all saw how good they were in that. Like you were saying, that huge crowd. East Lansing played Waverly in the other semifinal that night. And East Lansing is a loaded team, and then they were a little bit too much for Porter Central. They won the regional the other night. For Lakeview, you end the season at 17-8 with that loss. But that first district title in more than 3 decades, the division title in the SMAC East, a lot to get excited about for this season for these guys, and you had a huge group of seniors that got it done for you.
Yeah. I mean, our senior class did a great job this year. As far as I heard Coach Kimber talking earlier that he thought maybe one of the faults of his team in the district was he didn't have any seniors on the court that realized the urgency of the moment. And I think our guys did a great job of not just realizing it, but passing that on to the younger guys, making sure that they realize, like, this is our Coach Amesbury has an old saying: don't ever trust the underclassmen when you're in the district tournament and you're in big times at the end of the season, because they don't quite get it that this could be when we try to bring that up to them, every time we were in a situation where it could have been our last practice, that's how we start. This could be our last practice, so remember where you're at and where you're going. And, I think we had Zach and Jake come back this year, and we had Maddox Bishop come back this year after taking their junior year off. And that was so nice to have them back and give us that little bit of edge. And then Davis Barr obviously was back from last year, had a really, really nice season this year. Who am I forgetting here? I got to remember all these dudes.
You got a lot of seniors on.
Yeah. Jaden Walker had an up and down season, but has really just improved immensely and had a great senior year. Luke Diswick, who happens to be cousins to the guys over at St. Phil, played a great role this year as kind of our seventh man, but, played great defense, shoots the ball pretty well. Just had a really nice year for us, nice balance, and pretty level-headed kid that never gets too high, never gets too low, but always works as hard as he can. And then I guess our last senior was Malachi Bell, who had a really nice year. I think he grew up a lot, and I've known Malachi since he was in like 4th grade, so he's grown up a ton, and he's a great young man and had a nice season for us. So those 7 seniors, as I've told them many times now, they'll go down in history at Lakeview. They're going to be a team that people talk about going down the road, and maybe at some point they'll come back together and go back up and look in the trophy case and see their trophy and all that kind of stuff. So those are memories that will never go away. And I'm very, very proud to have coached these guys and had the kind of season that we had. And I thank them a lot for just everything that they've given our program, most of them for 4 years.
In that last game, Jake Harchek had 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals. LeBron Campbell, one of your underclassmen, who is a big part of the future, 13 points and 4 rebounds. Davis Barr, 8 points and 6 rebounds. Nice way to wrap up the season. A lot to get excited about Lakeview going forward. A lot of guys, a lot younger guys, will be getting their first taste of starting next year, but it'll be exciting for you once again. When that happens, you seem to always have a lot of seniors that kind of go out at the same time. Lakeview's really good about having people stay with the program all 4 years and having a big senior class. Each of our coaches this morning are going to talk about what makes each of their programs run so smoothly. And you have the same thing over there at Lakeview. A lot of people that help behind the scenes that get it done for you, and we're going to give you the mic right now to talk about those people.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you start to do these things, and you stop and think about all the people that touch the program and help the program, and even if it's just cheering for the program, we have all kinds of people. So first and foremost, I have to thank my wife Christy, because being a coach's wife, I think I've said this for 23 years on Coach's Corner. It's not an easy job, and she does it well. She doesn't. She doesn't let me get away with anything, that's for sure, and she's a big fan. And so, and then I want to go through our kind of administrative team. Cody Jappengar, our principal, who's a good friend, as well as our principal, but he's been very supportive. And then Sean Amesbury, our AD, who's also it's crazy when you start going through this. Everybody's your friend. And Laura Van Dis, in her second year, I think, as our athletic secretary, has been getting better every day and really, really tries hard to make sure we get everything we need. Our athletic trainer, Kate, is she's kind of like part of the program. I mean, the kids love her. She does a great job, and she's our biggest cheerleader. Speaking of cheerleaders, Lisa Snyder is a math teacher in our building, and she is our pep club advisor, but she goes above and beyond as far as getting people involved and supporting our kids. And I think she deserves a big shout out for all the work that she does. Ken Roach is a guy that came on this year, or last year, I guess, a little bit. Just a great dude. He comes, if anybody's been to our games in the pregame, he's the guy that's in charge of all the pregame, the pyrotechnics, and it seemed like every night Ken brought some new toy in, and what a great guy. And he doesn't do it for, he just does it because he likes doing it. And so he's been a big part of what we've done this year. Our kids, they just love that pregame stuff, and I mean, it just makes it so much more fun. Our coaching staff, Ron Jamerson, our freshman coach, Glenn Hicks, our JV assistant, Kyle Kraft, our JV head coach. We've started to really develop a good bond as a coaching staff, and those guys all enjoy doing it, and they work hard, and they're in it for the right reason. They're in it to try to make our whole program is, we like to think that we're trying to help boys become men, and those guys are really good at helping with that. And last but not least, the players and parents. I mean, the players, we talked about the seniors already, but, when you think about starting in early November and you're going all the way through early March, that's a long commitment, and we really, I think we take it for granted sometimes that, well, you want to be here. So, and I know they do, but that's a long time to commit to something. And, I think we had one bad practice all year where I was disappointed when we left practice, and I think that's a pretty good indication of the type of team you had, the type of kids you have. And then obviously that happens because of their parents. The parents make the kids good kids, and so I want to thank those parents for being supportive. I'm sure sometimes they were in the stands like I do when I'm watching Michigan State, wondering what the heck am I doing, but never heard anything, and so that's nice. And they were always very supportive. We had a couple parents make team dinners and have the kids over, and quite honestly, that might have been one of the turning points of our season when we started doing that, so I appreciate that. And I think that's about it for our people directly involved with Lakeview, but I want to echo what Matt said, Bill, that we really, we're old dudes now. We're dinosaurs, and you're right there with us. That's right. You've been around as long as most of us have been around, and I don't know what would happen if we didn't have you around doing what you do. So we appreciate that, and really want to make sure you understand how much it means to us that you continue to work hard for our kids so they can get the recognition that they deserve. So thank you.
I appreciate that, and I'll be around as long as they keep the doors open there.
That's what I keep saying.
I'm sure that'll be several more years. So appreciate you coming down every week, Coach, and it's been a lot of fun watching Lakeview Spartans this year. A real exciting season to watch, and we'll do it again next year, all right?
All righty. Thanks, Bill.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll be back with our last Coach of the Morning here after this break on 95.3 WBCK.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
Next Coach of the Morning, Coach Brown of the Battle Creek Central Bearcats. How's it going, Coach?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Battle Creek Central had a season where you kind of struggled most of the year with a really young team, but it ended on a bright note. You got a district win over Coldwater and reached the district semifinals, which is a lot for the guys to look forward to in terms of ending on a high note. How important was that for the Bearcats?
Well, it was good. It was a long season, not a lot of successes when we looked at wins and losses. The guys hung in there. It was a struggle at times, but it was good to end the season on a much better note by at least winning one of the games in the district tournament.
That left the Bearcats with an overall record at 2-20, but a lot of young guys on this team. And we've seen this about 4 or 5 years ago with your program. Struggled, and then 2 or 3 years later, you guys are playing for district titles. So that's something to look forward to. There's a little bit of growth there, and something to look forward to going forward. The Bearcats themselves aren't run by one guy. You have a lot of people to help you, and let's talk about those guys, and then give a shout out to some of those seniors that are going away for you.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of hands in the mix that help to make the program run. First of all, I'd like to give thanks and a shout out to our administrative principal, Tyler Gillen, who is very, very supportive of our athletics, not just basketball, but athletics in general, and in support of our students. So I want to say we appreciate Mr. Gillen. Lauren Granger, our football coach and AD, just does a great job of learning the ins and outs of the administrative part of athletics, not just the coaching part. And he's been very helpful and supportive as well. Want to shout out to our trainer, Miss Brooke, who keeps our guys healthy. They really like to be treated by Miss Brooke. It's almost like everybody comes up with an injury before practice so that they can, go see the trainer, be a little late coming into practice and that type thing. But she does a real good job with the guys and strength and conditioning type stuff and injury treatment. So, and then I guess I'll shout out to a few people that definitely help us out. We couldn't have games without them, and those are the people at the scorers table. Russ Claggett is our announcer. We want to definitely thank him. Terry Walker does our scorebook, and then Gerald McKnight is our clock guy. So those three individuals, we'd be in a bind if we didn't have people taking care of those areas. So I want to shout out to them. And then some of the coaches. Mike McClinney's done a real good job with our freshman team. Unfortunately, we lost Coach Watkins, Brian Watkins. So that's never a good thing to have to deal with. But his son, Brent Watkins, stepped in and helped out when Coach could no longer physically fulfill that responsibility. So we want to thank him as well. Mo Fitzpatrick is just a mainstay. He was around before I even took on the job, and Mo does a good job working with the youngsters, keeping our stats, and just being a presence on the bench during game time. So yeah, those are the individuals that come to mind. Yeah. I'm sure I probably left out a person or two, but yeah, we want to give a shout out and a thanks to those individuals.
And thanks for you, Coach, for coming on down to Coach's Corner every weekend and talk about the Bearcats. I know the fans out there appreciate that. Thanks for coming down, Coach.
All right, Bill.
That's it for Coach's Corner for this season. I've had a lot of fun doing it and walking down with the coaches and talking every Saturday. And looks like we'll try to get that arranged and try to bring Coach's Corner back for next season. So signing off for this season, this is Bill Broderick of the Battle Creek Enquirer. This has been Coach's Corner on WBCK 95.3 FM.